Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. I am the founder and the spiritual director. Now, as you are sitting there joining us, you may have questions, any number of questions, such as, who am I? How did I get here? Spiritually integrated arts means what exactly? What is a teaching center? Well, what is Centers for Spiritual Living? What is that? What does that even mean? Or New Thought, or religious science, or science of mind and spirit? You may have any number of questions about this specific community, about the parent organization, CSL, our philosophy, our teaching, our liberation theology. Any number of questions. Feel free to send an email. We look forward to connecting more and building our virtual community, our global community. And if you haven't connected yet on social media, feel free to do so. This is your invitation now. Also, did you know that all of our Sunday messages are archived on our YouTube channel? You can watch it anytime. Now, questions about anything, such as becoming a member. What does that mean? What does membership entail? And if you live somewhere far and already belong to a spiritual community, can you be a member of more than one? The simple answer is yes, you can. Just like you can shop at more than one grocery store, you can attend or be a member of more than one gym. We are building beloved community. So you can do both. You can be a member of both. You can be involved with both. That's what being in spiritual community means. So we welcome you. We invite you. We are so appreciative that you have found this community and that you have joined us today. We bless you. We love you. We welcome you. Live long and prosper. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of our Sunday message. Love you. Connect with you soon. Blessings. Namaste and welcome to our second week in December as we continue to explore the theme, Sticking the Landing. Now, specifically this week, if you remember from last week, there was the element of talking about the elements, air, fire, water, etc. Well, we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper today. So, buckle up. Breathe. Today we are talking about hearts ablaze. We are feeling creatures who think, says so Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor in her book, Whole Brain Living. We can have all the words and all the information and all the intellectual stuff, information, stats. We could have all that stuff, all of it. And yet, it is our feeling, it is our emotions, it is that fire that drives us, it is that fire that is the true source of the power of the one source as it moves in, through, and as each of us. It is the animating force that is animating itself as us. Now, we can be worn down by what Howard Thurman calls the dust and the grit of the journey. In his book, The Moments of My High Resolve, we can get lost in grief and despair and disillusionment and disenfranchisement and disbelief. We can lose our way, like Dorothy in the Yellow Brick Road. There's that somehow we got off the road and ended up in a field of poppies. Poppies. And then we are overcome with the dust and the grit of the poppies, and it lulls us to sleep. But even in the midst of all of that, we can catch or reignite the divine spark if we can let that which is the sacred, that which is the holy, that which is the divine, the truth of our being, if we let it invade the space and dissipate the fog of lack and scarcity and separation and all of the dust and grit of the journey. The light within, the light that is the very being itself as us, rekindles and blazes with a new, vibrant vigor, vibrancy, and inspiration, if we let it. Therein lies the thing. If we let our heart be set ablaze. Phil Wickham says, hearts ablaze, drawing close. The holy place now invades the human soul. What does it mean for your heart to be ablaze? What are you passionate about? How does your passion and inspiration and enthusiasm and motivation, how do these things show up in your life? Or how are they absent from our lives? Because oftentimes we find our way through to get where we're going by being very clear on, where am I? For example, if someone were to blindfold you, put, headphones on so you can't hear anything going on, and they put you on a plane and a train and an automobile and drop you off in the middle of somewhere. And then they take it off and say, we want you to get, and then they name this other place. Well, I don't know if I should go north or south, east or west until I know where I am. And so oftentimes we find our way through to being set ablaze, to being remotivated and re-inspired by taking account of, what is it that I'm actually feeling? Grief. What is it that I'm actually feeling? Sadness, isolation, loneliness. Because once I can, quote unquote, diagnose the territory where I am in this great adventure, the moment I can identify the dust and the grit is the moment that I know, oh, that kind of dust or that kind of grit, I need a mop. I need a rag with Windex. I need a Swifter. Whatever it is, once I can identify it, then I know what to do with it. So are we willing? Are you willing to go there in order to reignite the truth of your being? Dr. Holmes says, the spirit fires the soul with energy and understanding. The soul, which is the subjective mentality, vitalizes the body and animates all that we do. What's this got to do with anything? It's all one. The spirit, God, fires the soul, the subjective mentality, with energy, understanding, wisdom, love. All that is true about God is true about you. The soul is fired with all of this power and all of this presence. And it is precisely that energy, that fire, that then inspires, reinvigorates, revitalizes the body, not even just our physical body, the body of our mental thoughts, the body of our emotions, the body of our affairs, all of the things that we do in the world. This energy of and from spirit through the soul, to the soul, as the soul fires and rekindles and animates. It shows up in the action of everything. The spirit fires the soul of the plant with the energy, the vitality, the understanding that what you are is a rose. And because of that, the rose then knows what to do and is animated to grow as a rose and not a dandelion. How are you being motivated by the fires of your soul, the energy of your soul, which is ultimately the power and the presence of spirit, the divine, the universe, God? Look at what we do. How often, hold on a second. How often are we enamored by and mesmerized by and addicted to our phones? I don't seem to be able to focus on what I want to focus on because I need to check Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I need to check. 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 What? Like, really, let's look at all of the things that we do and then ask, what is motivating that action? What is causing that action? When there's depression or sadness or whatever it is that I'm feeling, and the action is eat cookies or some other comfort food. If I'm unwilling or unable to identify the action of eating another slice of cake is being motivated, it is being inspired by the emotions of, oh, see, if I can't follow back, if I can't identify the dust and the grit, then I can't clean my consciousness. I can't change the actions accordingly. So, what is it that is motivating us into action? Because once again, the energy of source and spirit is life affirming. But when we get caught up into the blah, blah, blah of life and get caught in and stuck to the dust and grit of life, then that energy can become a non-life affirming energy. The understanding is motivated, it is empowered by non-life affirming. Like, I understand that I don't have enough money. I understand that I've gained so much weight and I don't like it. I understand that I'm not, that I don't have, that I can't go. I understand that. Yeah, but your focus is on the non life affirming side of. Because what you are understanding is the lack, the scarcity, the woulda, coulda, shouldas of life. And yet, when the fires of spirit, then the understanding is I understand that X amount of money is X amount of money, which has no bearing on my innate divine magnificence. X amount of money does not make me poor by the standards of and the socioeconomics of culture, the collective consciousness, maybe, maybe not. But the point is, my understanding is I know who and what I am, regardless of how much I have or don't have. The truth of my being is the truth of my being, always unchangeable. So, once again, what is motivating our actions? Dr. Holmes says, love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. Love is self-givingness through creation, the imparting of the divine through and as the human itself. Did you know that at one point Dr. Holmes said that, if anything, like his only regret was that in all of his teaching and all of his speaking, he didn't give love quite as much attention as he gave law. Because a lot of folks, the law says, and the law creates, and the law, and yet Dr. Holmes was like, yeah, but it's the balance of. It's the balance of. Love chooses and the law makes the way. It's not the other way around. Love is the fire itself. And we're not just talking about love as simply an emotion that we feel. We're talking about love as the fire itself, love as the very power that God is, love being synonymous with God. And that is the fire that fires you. That is the fire that motivates you. That is the fire that animates you. That is the fire of your being. Love. And therein lies the thing, which is why we have so much conflict in the world, because we're not showing up as our loving divine selves in all of these spaces to transform those spaces. Jill Bolte Taylor says, we humans are feeling creatures who think rather than thinking creatures who feel. We feel. It is because of our feelings that people go to war. I feel insulted. I feel afraid. I feel threatened. And as a result of that, I attack. I destroy. I defend if necessary. It's because of what we feel. But how many of us are truly in touch with what we feel? How often will someone say, hey, Ray, how are you feeling today? And we say, can't complain. That's a thought. It's not a feeling. We respond with our head, not our heart. Now, sometimes we don't respond from our heart because we know the person they really don't want to know what we're feeling. So we give a customary response that is just, to fill the space. But what would happen if we started being honest? Honest with ourselves in terms of what we are feeling, honest with others in terms of telling them what we're feeling. I feel disappointed. I feel disappointed that I feel disappointed because when you did that, what I felt was this. I'm not blaming you. I'm simply letting you know my feeling as a result of. It's not about you. It's about me. I'm sharing with you my feelings.
That may change certain behaviors or it may not change certain behaviors. But I'm sharing by being aware of what I'm feeling. I feel depressed. I feel grief. I feel anger. Hey, Ray, how are you today? Angry. Now, do I then ask, why are you angry? What's making you angry? And then we engage in a deeper conversation. I feel threatened. Threatened by who? Threatened by what? And then we have a deeper conversation. Then the healing begins. When you go to the doctor and the doctor asks, so how are you feeling? Well, I have pain in my shoulder. Pain, because we're talking physicality. There's pain. Then we localize it in my shoulder. Pain in my neck. Pain in my hands. Pain. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being pretty much there's no pain at all, 10 being it's excruciating agony. To what degree is the pain? It's a 6. It's a 2. When you're feeling angry, 1 being nearly no anger at all, 10 being I'm ready to punch a hole through a wall. How angry are you? How sad are you? How depressed do you feel? How aware are we of our own level of emotional awareness, our emotional intelligence? Because in all of these avatars of, doesn't matter who it is, Spock, Ahsoka Tano, doesn't matter who it is, greater power, greater magic, greater wielding of the force, greater ways of being self show up when intellect and heart are one. When the emotions have the freedom to direct our thoughts as one, driven by, inspired by, motivated by love. And love says, well, once there's love, what do I think? Once there's love, what do I say? Once there's love, how do I act? Not let me think about love. Let me think about the force. Feel the force. And then direct it. That's where thought comes in, because now thought says, I am one with the force and the force is with me. Now, how do I direct it? How do I channel it? How do I use it? But first there is feel it and then move. So where are we not allowing the magic to be made real? Where are we not allowing love to be made real? Because if we're not willing to really go there, then what are we actually doing? If we're not willing to identify, and I mean really go there and identify what is it that we desire? How do we feel it? How do we allow it to be expressed and made real? Then all of the things that we talk about, eradicating this and healing that and transforming this, it's just talk. So the work is feel it, speak it, think it, do it. Now, as the quote prior mentioned, this thing called desire. What is desire? Now, on the surface, we understand what desire is, but desire is a strong feeling of something that you want or something that you wish for or want to happen. Synonyms for desire: enthusiasm, determination, aspiration, need. I desire to feel healthy. I need to feel healthy. I aspire to feel healthier. Right? So the words are the mind. The word, any of these words, is what we're thinking. Remember, Dr. Jill said, we are feeling beings who think. So the thinking, these words, because if you strip all the words away, the feeling is still there. Even if I don't know the word hungry, I know the feeling of physical hunger. Even if I don't know the word, I know the feeling. Thirst, I know the feeling. Loneliness, I know the feeling. Grief, I know the feeling. Anger, I know the feeling. Even if I don't have the words, I know the feeling. So are we ready to open up to the actual feelings as the fire and the motivated power that is showing up in our lives and as our lives? Neil deGrasse Tyson says, rational thoughts or logical thoughts never drive people's creativity in the way that emotions do. People create based upon their desires, their strong feelings. Art is created by the feeling. Revolution of consciousness is created by the feeling, not the thoughts. So what are you feeling? Whatever, at any given moment, there are a whole bunch of emotions and feelings and moods. And oftentimes we use these words interchangeably. What kind of mood are you in? And my response may be based on a feeling. It's all well and good. I invite you to come back to this and just check out. So how clear am I on? So this says emotions are short, that feelings are moderate in their duration, and moods are long. So a mood lasts hours or days. That's a mood. A feeling is minutes, and emotion is seconds. Okay, so what does it look like in our lives? Right? Like, let's really start exploring what this and how it shows up. What is it and how does it show up? Because the more emotionally intelligent we are, the more intelligent we are with our feelings, the more intelligent we are with our moods, the more we are able to align with the fire itself, that divine power itself. Dr. Holmes says, feeling organized and directed is intelligent creation. Feeling organized and directed. What does it mean to feel organized and directed? What is organized and directed? Think harmony. Think to be in alignment with whatever this is you want to create, want to experience. Feeling aligned in perfect flow with. Feeling aligned is intelligent creation. And we're going to be talking about flow either next week or the week after. But feeling in harmony is intelligent creation. Feeling aligned with that which is life affirming is intelligent. And by intelligent, we're not talking, well, that's stupid. That's intelligent. That's smart. That's not. Intelligent creation is the intelligence that is the universe. And when we are feeling in harmony, then that which is the divine intelligence of the all that is what's moving and creating. Because we're in alignment with it. We're living, moving, and having our beingness as the very embodiment of it. Remember, you've heard me say it a lot. Dr. Holmes says the only God that any of us will ever truly know on an intimate level is the one that we embody. embody what it means to be in harmony, to be organized and directed. Be in harmony, embody what it means to create intelligently, to feel passionately. Breathe. So for our quiz today, we are going to memorize no, I'm messing with you. How many of us remember the periodic table from some science class somewhere? Whether we took a chemistry class or not, or we're familiar with the general idea of, oh, the periodic table, like, isn't that all of the elements or something? It's something. Like, we may not know all the numbers or certainly not all the names, but we understand the general idea of periodic table, right? Okay. So the elements show up in a variety of ways and a variety of places. In science, the elements show up as the periodic chart. In basic alchemy, the elements show up as you see on your screen in the rectangle at the top, basic alchemy. In the circle beneath that, the basic elements of witchcraft or Wicca. To the side, you see the Tibetan prayer flag, the Buddhist prayer flags, each color representing an element. And we could go on. Because if not, nearly every culture and civilization, indigenous and non, have some reference or understanding of the elements. Why? Intelligent creation. Same reason we all have some version of language. Intelligent creation. The same fire itself is burning in through and as everyone. So there are certain commonalities that people come up with of, I observe this. I observe that, solid, liquid, gas, etc. Now, remember we talked about the idea of feel the force and then channel it. Feel the force and then move it. Feel the magic and move it. Well, as we talk about this thing, the elements, did you know that within Buddhism and others, using mudras to represent, it is actually a connection of each finger represents an element. And when those elements are brought together in a particular mudra, the energy of those elements is what's being embodied and evoked. Did you know that? So, for example, chin means consciousness. In Sanskrit, this gesture has the effect of grounding the mind and allowing the practitioner to focus on their meditation. So that's why when you see people meditating and you see this handshake, this gesture, this mudra, this is the energy. This is what this mudra represents. Because the energy is thumb, water, and earth. Water and earth. The fluidity of water and the groundedness of earth. So I am fluidity of thoughts, fluidity of emotions that move and shift and change are being grounded by being connected to the solid earth. Okay. How do you do that in your life? How do you, because we do them, we all have, once again, in yoga, in the Indian tradition, in the Buddhist tradition, there are all kinds of mudras. But what are some mudras that you use to communicate? Because you may not use any of these specifically, but do we as a culture, as a people, not have mudras? That mean stuff? Why do we do these gestures? Because they communicate and they channel energy. When you do this to somebody, there is energy that comes off of this that they receive and understand what this is based upon their understanding of this gesture. You know what movie this is from? You're stuck in a car, traffic, someone cuts you off. Two of these go away, right? Like two fingers go away, one stays. That's a mudra. That is conveying an energy. It is communicating an idea. So what happens when we become far more focused on the mudras that we are using? Like when I was studying ninjutsu way back in the day, there's this aspect, once again, each finger represents an element. Chi, chi, su, ka, fu, and ku, which is so chi, earth, su, water, chi, su, ka, fire, fu, wind, and the void from which all things emanate and come from. And when you combine, once again, you combine the elements to this, rin, it means strength of mind and body. Pyo, direction of energy. To, harmony with the universe, etc. So I got into the habit because of the practice. When there is something that I want to anchor and ground and align myself with, feelings, organized direction, intelligent creation, there's something that I want to create using the intelligent flow of the all that is, then I will do something that realigns me with the elements of creation, whatever those elements may be. What is your practice? How do you get into alignment with earth being grounded and solid, water flowing, wind, fire, etc.? What is your practice that moves you through the creative intelligence, the divine power, the infinite fire of, so that you are able to create and manifest not only whatever it is for your individual life, peace and harmony, but it becomes peace and harmony for the collective as well. What point does it matter if you in your house are comfortable and at peace? But there are nations and countries at war, blowing themselves up, killing one another. Yeah, you're comfortable, I'm comfortable, but they're not. How do we move into this energy? As Charles Fillmore says, I fairly sizzle. I love that word. Sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. Did you know that the etymology of enthusiasm is N-E-N, theos, T-H-E-O-S, entheos, to be in and with God. Enthusiasm, to be in and with God. Inspiration, in spirit. Inspire, in spirit. Spire, like on a church cathedral, the spire is that top that elevates and goes up, and it's oftentimes spirals or points heavenward. So inspiration is that energy that uplifts us and points us towards heaven. And heaven is within. We experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith, a life-affirming faith, to do the things that ought to be done by me. Do you fairly sizzle? Do you sizzle at all? Do you have zeal? Are you enthusiastic? Do you spring forth or sit back? Do you have a mighty life-affirming faith, or is your faith non-life affirming? Are you willing to do the things that ought to be done by you, or is it easier for you to, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let someone else do it. I'm going to let them do it for me. I'm going to let them create peace on earth. I'm going to let them get political corruption out of politics. I'm going to let them fix the school district. I'm going to let them clean the streets. I'm going to let them end gun violence. So what am I going to do? Twiddle my metaphysical thumbs. That's no longer suitable. It's no longer acceptable. So how do we rekindle the fires so that we can all fairly sizzle? That when you see me and I'm not sizzling, that there is something that you can invite me to engage in so that the fire reignites or burns brighter or higher. Because technically, the fire that is the spirit can never be quenched. It can never be put out, ever. No matter how we feel, it's there. It's not like a stove where the pilot light goes out and you have to read. It may feel small. It's there and it's burning brightly, which is why you've heard me often say, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, this huge light of mine, I choose to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. It is God. The light's not small. The still small voice. The voice of the divine is not small. It is, I don't even know what word to use. It is always loud and clear. But when we are paying attention to, hold on a second. Yeah, huh? What'd you say? Don't have enough, don't have enough. Lack and scarcity. Ooh, I like this song. I'm depressed and I'm so sad. Lack and scarcity. I'm gonna send you. Hold on. Dark and gloomy, dark and dust. When that is loud and blaring, then yeah, it's difficult to hear the voice of love. It's difficult to hear the voice of harmony, but it's there and it's loud and it's clear. So our invitation is, what do we want to listen to? What do we want to be in alignment with? And then act accordingly. As a metaphysical liberation theology, science of mind and spirit offers us greater depths of awareness, which frees us from the confines of the collective consciousness, which would have us believe that we must aggressively compete, that we must be fearful of others, and that we must work tirelessly, keep our nose to the grindstone, and tirelessly in order to succeed and to get ahead. But let's explore all of the various ways that we can be free from this dogmatic series of paradigms of being emotionally detached, emotionally distant, and emotionally divorced from the power of vulnerability and love and caring and authenticity. Because that's where the power is. This week's affirmation declaration, if it resonates with you, if you feel in alignment with it, say it with me on the second go round. I let the fire of infinite love set my life ablaze with divine magnificence. Together. I let the fire of infinite love set my life ablaze with divine magnificence. And so it is. This week's questions for the Thursday night discussion group or your own personal practice. 1, when is my heart more open and when is it more closed? What can I do to, or what can I be to increase my openness? What is my approach to life? How do I feel about life? Am I afraid of life? Do I trust life? Do I try to micromanage and control life? Where in my life do I try to do things right or perfect as a way to control my life? Yeah, I'm not saying one word. I'm just going by what's on the screen. Number 3. What would the people closest to me say of my overall emotional being, my overall feelings, my overall moods? Like, what is their perception of my emotions, my feelings, and my mood? In what way can I use the power of my heart fire, that spirit, to make a difference? And lastly, when I do spiritual mind treatment, do I feel it, or do I simply say the words as I try to get the treatment right? What can I do to feel it more? And when we're talking about feeling here, a lot of this isn't just feeling it, it's, do I believe that the words I am saying, that the treatment I am giving, do I believe that it has the power, that it is the power, that I am channeling the power, that the law is receiving and acting accordingly? Do I believe that prayer works? That's what we're talking about feeling. What can I do to feel? What can I do to believe? What can I do to be committed to? What can I do to be convicted more to the truth of my treatment? And what am I seeking to feel? What do I want to feel do I want to feel comfort? What do I want to feel when I give a treatment? Lastly, what does get it right? What does that even mean? A lot of people won't do a treatment or won't volunteer to do a treatment because we have this preconceived idea or notion of, well, what other people might think of it or of us. But what does it mean to get it right? To say all the words in the right order? To say it in a way that other people feel inspired? Or is getting it right being, what does it mean? What is for you? What does it mean to get it right? Y'all will discuss it on Thursday. Now, let us enter into that space of prayer, that space of infinite knowing. Simply being in the atmosphere of the divine, allowing that divine fire to set our lives ablaze, to burn brightly with the light of the universe, to shine forth with the love that is God, to fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, motivation and inspiration, to spring forth and to do the things that are ours to do, to transform and to liberate, to evolve the collective consciousness. That is what we are practicing. That is why we gather. That is why we do what we do here. To bring the experience of peace on earth, goodwill to all, equity and justice to all, in all of the ways that that can show up. Equity and justice in housing, equity and justice in food, equity and justice in education, equity and justice in politics, equity and justice in, keep it going, equity and justice for all. And so we do our individual work, knowing that as we shine brighter, simply stepping into a room and that light is there, that love is there, that intelligent creation is there, it transforms the energy in the room, because the manner in which we communicate changes the energy in the room. The manner in which we interact changes the energy in the room. And then the energy, the seeds that have been planted, then ripple out and transform the world. So we allow our hearts to be set ablaze. This great and glorious light of mine, I now let it shine. And the law says yes. And so we, knowing that that means it's already done and it's already answered prayer, we touch and agree, and we also say yes. And so it is. And so it is. Amen. Namaste, much love and blessings. See you over in Zoom if you are joining us there. See you in our Wednesday night discussion group or Thursday night, but see you soon. Same Science of Mind and Spirit channel. Okay, you get what I'm saying. Love ya.